Zionist Obama speechwriter complains Holocaust education is too good.
I think that since October 7th, but really before then, there have been huge shifts in America on how people think about Jews and Israel. And I think that is especially true of young people. So we are now wrestling with a new, I think, generational divide here. And I think that's particularly true in that social media is now our source of media. And this, it used to be that the media you got in America was American media, and it was pretty mainstream. It generally didn't express extreme anti-Israel views. You had to go to a pretty weird bookstore to find global media and fringe media. But today, we have...
I like how global media is being placed alongside fringe media here. Like, in order to view radical perspectives, like the way everyone in the world thought about Israel, outside of the bubble of American protection of Israel, you had to go to some pretty wacky places. Kind of makes America sound like the fringe media place,
Social media, which is a global medium. Right? It is shaped, its algorithms are shaped by billions of people worldwide who don't really love Jews. And
like genuinely, I'm saying this on behalf of Jewish people. Am I Jewish? No, but I did grow up around them. So I'm saying this on behalf of my brothers and sisters from the mean streets of Beverly Hills, okay? Shut the fuck up. You are making so many more Nazis. Please shut the fuck up. It's insane how much damage you're doing. You're doing so much fucking damage. These freak Zionists go out there and they're like, we're used to having complete control of the media narrative. Us, a small minority of Americans. Shut up! Oh my God! What the... Stop! Jewish people are just regular fucking people. Did you don't stop roping them in to your shit? This lady's doing a come down bit. All the Zionists, they keep doing come down bits, man. It's the shit you would make up as a Nazi or a person making a joke about the fever dreams of Nazis to describe these people. Okay? Stop. Holy shit.
So while in the 1990s, a young person probably wasn't going to find Al Jazeera or someone like Nick Fuentes, today those...
Oh yeah, man. Al Jazeera, Nick Fuentes. Yep. Well, Nick Fuentes didn't exist back then. And Al Jazeera was still a media outlet back then. So, again, like...
media outlets find them. They find them on their phones. It's also this increasingly post-literate media. Less and less text, more and more videos. So you have TikTok just smashing our young people's brains all day long with video of carnage in Gaza. And this is why so many of us can't have a sane conversation with younger Jews, because anything that we try to say to them, they are hearing it through this wall of carnage. So I want to give data and information and facts and arguments, and they are just seeing in their minds carnage, and I sound obscene.
I wonder why. It's funny. This is actually the other side of the coin of liberal fascism, right? I say liberal fascism about the Trump administration because they're using fascist rhetoric and fascist political goals. They're employing them, but liberalism still codes their speech. But here it's the opposite, kind of, or maybe, well, no, it's kind of the exact same thing. Trump and the MAGA movement engages in like open, repugnant, a vulgar fascism, and these people are essentially doing it in a more refined fashion, right? Like their goal here is like, yeah, well, obviously you can't criticize Israel at its path to create an ethno-state, exterminate the inferior people, and establish greater Israel. Yeah, but they're advocating for it civilly, right? It's the same thing. It's just a rhetorical difference. The liberal coalition cannot include these people. I'm not voting for any Democrats that think this is acceptable. It's fucking insane, dude. It's like what she is doing right here reminds me most closely of what the alt-right did back in 2019, where there were some... Hold on. There were some alt-righters that were trying to be like the intellectual wing of the conversation, like alt-hype or whatever, who would do this like, you're just getting emotional about racism. Here's the facts and data about race science. There's no facts and data that you can actually present, that in any way addresses what Israel has done in Gaza. There's no like method, there's no counter argument there, really. It's just brutality. You're not getting around that, you know? Why the fuck does my door keep closing?
And, you know, I think, unfortunately, the very smart, I think, bet that we made on Holocaust education to serve as anti-Semitism education, in this new media environment, I think that is beginning to break down a little bit. Because,
well, that's fucking telling.
you know, Holocaust education is absolutely essential. But I think it may be confusing some of our young people about anti-Semitism.
Yeah, it might be confusing some young people into believing that we're principally opposed to all mass exterminations of people, which obviously not. Remember when the Holocaust Museum of Los Angeles had a scheduled, like, Instagram post that said, you know, never again means for nobody, basically, and they took it down because Zionists complained that implied that Palestinians shouldn't be killed? Yeah, never again is for everybody, and they had to take it down because the Zionists were like, wait, this makes it sound like you're implying we're killing the Palestinians and that it's bad. Actually evil. They're very evil people, the Zionists. Yeah, Zionism's a deeply Hitlerite ideology. It's just it's Hitlerite ideology that has managed to mask itself within the rhetoric and the guise of American liberalism, which makes it very, very dangerous, you know? At least the Trump movement is honest. It's fascist, so it acts fascist. They're retarded, you know? They scream, they shout, they're open with their bigotry. Over in Israel, they're open with their bigotry. You know, that's why Grok has blocked us from translating from Hebrew tweets. If you take a look at the way the Zionists talk in Hebrew to each other, they're all very, very open with what they believe. It's not subtle, but to Americans, to the English-speaking audience, they're, oh, no, we're just really concerned about the plight of Jews and anti-Semitism, like the anti-Semitism of voting for Mamdani, etc., etc. And our media space is completely complicit. You've got Eric Adams going over to Israel to fucking touch his head against the wall and tell the Israeli people that he served them as best as he could. Again, this shit creates so many Nazis. Like, and I mean this seriously. I'm not trying to be facetious, okay? I come away with from all of this information, from this tidal wave of insane shit, I come away from it with explanations that are not anti-Semitic. There are deep connections between Israel and the military-industrial complex. Our political system is structured to enable a lot of monstrous things, and it gets away with that by couching them within like progressive causes, you know, much the same way that George W. Bush justified the invasion of Iraq with the liberation of the Iraqi people, you know. Obviously, he didn't actually care about the liberation of the Iraqi people, but saying it like that makes it sound more defensible than just saying you want to, you know, fuck stuff up in the Middle East, right? But when you're presented with all this information, it is so much simpler to just derive from it the JQ. It's the path of least resistance. It takes a lot of education, a lot of knowledge about the world to understand how people can be this fucking crazy and this evil and this open with how conspiratorial they are about controlling local media. You need to know a lot to have explanations for these things. The JQ answer is a much, much shorter path, and there's a lot of people who push it. Not Al Jazeera, mind you. Nick Fuentes, yes. Not Al Jazeera. It's very, very dangerous. So again, for all my brothers and sisters in the mean streets of Beverly Hills, please shut the fuck up. Please, fuck. Oh my fucking God. Jesus Christ. Holocaust education has given people the wrong idea because it's given people the impression that, what? Jesus.
Because they learn about big, strong Nazis hurting weak, emaciated Jews. And they think, oh, anti-Semitism is like anti-black racism, right? Powerful white people against powerless black people. So when on TikTok all day long they see power.
No, you don't understand. We Jews are special. Persecution of us is special and distinct. Insane. Just like you're feeding people into an engine of anti-Semitism. It's unbelievable. Like her argument here is like, no. Those lessons never again only meant us. Our persecution, that's the only kind. There's nothing else that's like it. I mean, the Holocaust obviously was an extremely unique, distinct event. For one, it didn't just happen to Jews. And for two, let's be real here. All bigotry is basically like the same bigotry. It all stems from the exact same like psychosexual root. It gets funneled through the same social systems. Fundamentally, it serves the same social purpose. You know, there are always alterations specifically in the society, in the language, the context, the culture, whatever. But fundamentally, it always you get back to the brass tacks. You know, always, 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 always.
Powerful Israelis hurting weak, skinny Palestinians. It's not surprising that they think, oh, I know, the lesson of the Holocaust is you fight Israel. You fight the big, powerful people hurting the weak people.
Just, incomprehensibly evil, you know? You don't, in this case, you don't even have the excuse that you get with a lot of the MAGA fascists, which is that they're vice signaling. She's not vice signaling. She's just such a monster that to this to her in this environment is just a sensible argument. More evil than you'd get from the average Republican fascist by far, like easily. And so brazen. Like, God, if you guys, and by you guys, of course, I mean Zionists, but because they've successfully done this, really are controlling American media, which they are. We've seen what happened since October 7th. We know perfectly well how mainstream media aligns, Christian, Jewish, whatever. We know where you guys stand, right? If you're actually so committed to continuing to control the media apparatus, why are you so open and brazen about being Hitler? I don't get it. Shouldn't you be, like, quiet about this? Not attending a panel at the Jewish Federation of North America and just going like, I don't really like how people are using the Holocaust reference to condemn Israel for slaughtering innocent, emaciated, unarmed Palestinians, because you see, it's fine when we do it. Like, why would you? Not gonna lie, this kind of rhetoric sounds insane even to average moderate Zionist Americans. Oh yeah, sure, but average moderate Zionist Americans, like the average moderate Zionist American is probably just somebody who's like vaguely concerned about anti-Semitism and who thinks the Jewish people should have a homeland or whatever. Like this kind of intellectual defense of Zionism, the people who occupy government, media, the people who are like associated with the economic ties that lead to the contracts that we have, you know, Palantir, surveillance systems, all that shit that goes on in Israel that we benefit from. These people aren't regular average moderate Zionists, you know? Like the guy who owns Politico, the guy who said Zionism overall, who calls himself an atheist Zionist, that lunatic, that's not like a regular moderate Zionist. These people are just the Antichrist, right? They're just incredibly demonic. They've just been bought into an ideology or been, I don't know, wooed into. I don't really know how it works on an interpersonal level, but they are part of a system that feeds on evil. And they're so open with it, you know? I really do think that Zionism, in this respect, and hey, there's a lot of other connections between the two, it's like Epstein, where Trump and a lot of the other Epstein-affiliated people, like Dershowitz or whatever, just shockingly, openly evil and pedophilic when in their own, like with their own kind. And from the outside, it looks insane. Like, why does Dershowitz keep talking about how it should be okay to fuck teenagers? He never shuts up. For decades, he hasn't shut the fuck up about it. And he's still invited to media circles for some reason. Maybe because he's a Zionist, you know? You get me? Like, in their environment, it's so normalized in their environment, they forget that it's repugnant elsewhere. It'd be like the French aristocracy, like traveling into the countryside and having casual conversation with the peasantry and talking about like weird incest orgy, whatever the fuck the French nobility were up to, you know? And everyone else is like all of these like 63 IQ peasants who each have 8 kids are all like, what the fuck are they? Mon Dieu, you know? Oh my God, they always say that. They do always say that. Anyway, that shit's fucked up. I do feel really bad for, like, you know, basically all Jewish people in America, because very, very few Jewish people are wrapped up in it to this extent, man. Seriously, it's very much like the difference between the average Republican who voted for Trump and Stephen Miller, you know? The average Republican who voted for Trump might, like, get bought into Trump's rhetoric and the stuff the administration is doing, but the level of awareness and complicity that you get from Stephen Miller, it just laps the average. And likewise, a conversation between an average Republican and Stephen Miller, the average Republican would probably be like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? This guy is like a deranged freak. Holy shit, you know? Feel bad for Jews not in America too? Sorry, I'm an American chauvinist. I only have room in my heart for other Americans.